Welcome to Something Crunchy. Tyler is homies with Blake. Blake is the older bro of Blair. Blair is married to Tyler, and is a slutty slut.
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
What the hell is crunchy?
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
Welcome to another special edition episode of Something Crunchy. I am Kellen Blake. With me, as always, Blair and Tyler Dressel. We have a very crunchy guest joining us tonight. He's an entertainer, concert promoter, New York real estate mogul, philanthropist, giving a great deal to the American Cancer Society, and an all-around awesome human being. Please welcome SoHo Johnny.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Thank you so much for joining us. How are you, SoHo?
Okay, we're keeping it real. Every day's a blessing and a gift. And I wake up with that mantra, and we go forward with that type of good spiritedness that propels us forward.
Yes, sir.
Couldn't love that more.
And how's life in the big city?
The Big Apple is crunching away, no pun intended.
Love that.
Yeah. If it wasn't so obnoxious to do the applause again.
That kind of slipped out. But things are percolating again. People are starting to feel excited, and entertainment has been suppressed too long, and there's been too much Grim Reaper mentality. And as people and as, humanity, we need to smile. We need to have joy. We need to feel optimistic. It's the very spirit of humanity. It's a big part of who I am and what I tried to create with the SoHo Johnny platform. And with always appreciation, always keeping that in mind. There's always people less fortunate than us.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
So you wear a lot of hats. You're big into the music scene. I understand you also started doing some acting recently as well?
Yes, we've done a couple of small bits, and it's kind of building up momentum now. I'll be in Massachusetts, in about a week and a half from the small part of the film, and it's a lot of fun. You just the trifecta for me is once I started getting involved with the concerts and with the charities, it was like an aha moment for me. It opened up a lot of doors, and a lot of beautiful people surrounded me and supported what we did, and in that vernacular, I just said, listen, life has its ups and downs, but it's important to remember when the door is before you, don't hesitate to go through, because you don't want to look back and say, I should have, could have. And that's a part of the spirit and the passion that we have to hold inside and keep going, within reason, of course, but you just got to be grounded, but always try to, speak to that inner child, if you will, because, we're all human.
Damn right.
Yeah, you are speaking our language right now.
So who are some of your favorite actors or biggest on-screen influences?
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to people that supported us for the foundation that I helped found it. And listen, I'm not looking to take any credit. The credit goes to the people around me that helped create this. But Let Me Help Inc.org is a foundation I helped founded when I lost my mom last year to COVID. And I did the same thing years ago with my dad with cancer, and I just wanted to do something good to try to take, everybody is going through hard times or have been affected in some way by some disease or something. COVID has been the latest thing. So I started this foundation, and I was doing shows and fundraising already, but this time I started a foundation, because before I would just give a check. The benefit of a foundation is that you can give to multiple charities. They're not pigeonholed to like just for cancer, even though that's a great cause. So, and to answer your question, and last November, we did a 6-hour, of course it was virtual because of COVID, but a 6-hour concert where we had entertainers, or performers, either giving shout outs or, a quick performance, or just allowing some footage. For 3 different mandates. So I'm going to shout out to people like Ozzy Osbourne, Patrick Stewart, Cedric the Entertainer, Fred Schneider, B-52s, John Lodge from Moody Blues, Rick Wakeman.
Wow.
And there's about 50 of them that came out and supported us in different genres of music. I'm not just sticking to one genre. And more some up-and-coming artists. So I'm going to give a shout out to them, because they just, they were wonderful. I had it was a 6-hour show. 1 hour of the show was co-produced by another performer, and a great guy and a talented guy, Andrew Cole. and he did 1 hour of the show, hashtag I am no joke, for anti-bullying awareness, to raise money for that. And we also raised money for prostate cancer, as well as COVID-related through Department of the Agent in Yonkers, New York, to help people that couldn't, get access to food during the toughest part, the beginning of COVID. So that was a blessing to be involved with that. And, the celebrities that I shout out to are the people such as what I just mentioned, because they're celebrities to me in a double form of celebrity, in the fact that they're giving back.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I applaud them, and that's who I'm very appreciative. And it was great. Everybody gave their time. I have a great team behind me to help put it together. And, it's just such a noble cause. And when you have people, when you put the light out there, you attract like-minded people that have the light inside them. And that's been my trifecta: entertainment, music, and charity.
Right on. So let's get into some of these events that you put on, and you mentioned some monster names. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne, I've heard you say Jeff Goldblum, Patrick Stewart, Jane Lynch, Cedric the Entertainer, the list goes on. I see Howard Bloom on there too. We were fortunate enough to speak with him last week.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest challenge when putting together events on this scale? Is it scheduling, booking talent, the fine details, and problem solving behind the scenes?
It's honestly all of the above. And, it's like riding a bike. You just got to keep everything. You got to keep your balance. You got to try to keep to a time schedule. And say, listen, I'm not making light of it. It's a lot of work. But when you have the right people around and you're used to what you're doing, and, kind of my mantra when I do these shows, I mean, I treat everybody like their family. I mean, even the entertainers, when I've done shows, in-person shows for the American Cancer Society, I have a big green room, and I say, listen, this is not just a job. We're here to we're here as family, and we're going to make people smile. And, I'm a performer myself. I dab on my own practice choreography on the stage. I can't help myself. I'm a kid,
I would be too.
I'm animated, I'm singing, and I tell you all this, I'm singing along with them. And, I've got my own stuff coming out, but, it's that thrill.
That.
I mean, listen, I was a, very nervous kid. I was brought up in the melting pot in the city, and in Manhattan, and also the boogie down Bronx back in the day. But it was a blessing, because you see people for all walks and ethnic backgrounds coming together and working together. And to me, I consider that another education, if you will, in the positive form of humanity. So it's a lot of work, but it also could be a lot of fun, and you just got to keep it real, and also just keep it. Sometimes things don't go exactly according to plan, but you have people that are out there, and you have to come from. And this is another value of entertainers, okay? Because especially when we're on a road show, they're on the road and doing performances, and they're doing a tour. You wake up, you pulled your back, or you something happened where you're not in the best mood. They got to go out there and still put on their A show, to be fair for all their performances, right? So that's a big part of it too. So, I try to keep, everything uplifting. Everybody around. Maybe that's part of the secret sauce that I can answer your question with.
I think
you put everybody in that right frame of mind, and they're enjoying themselves too. It's that umbilical cord and connecting to the audience, that positive energy getting back, putting some people out of taking them away from their lives for a couple hours and laughing and smiling and dancing.
Yes.
I mean, music is the tie that binds us all. There's no politics, there's no nothing, and it's wonderful.
Transcends all language. You're very humble. You must know that. You're very humble. You deserve more credit than you give yourself. Are events moving forward going to keep a virtual element, you think, as we integrate back into live entertainment and going to shows?
Well, listen, the whole industry has been pivoting towards more technology, such as it's affecting every industry, right? Certainly entertainment. So we already had this coming. The pandemic just catapulted it, right up front now. And as far as streaming, I mean, I didn't know what Zoom was until the pandemic came myself, and, everybody's Zooming or streaming and everything just to have a conversation. But it's going to be a big part. It's a big part of what we're doing. We're getting really, really speaking to the technology for shows that we're doing, and we're collaborating with some great people. We've got another exciting project coming on that I can't talk much about now because it's kind of a little bit still in the works, but I will drop it on your show. just vision something that we're connections with all around the world. Something akin to something like a Live Aid or We Are the World coming.
Wow.
And I've been invited to be part of that, and that's been wonderful, wonderful experience. And again, it's just having, like-minded people that are optimistic and are keeping the line on for everyone else, such as all what you guys are doing with your show. I love it, the Crunchy Show. And you're keeping the line on just by having this show. This
nice
really counts, and it resonates with people, right? And people, social distancing does not mean social isolation, right? It's just the opposite. Now's the time that we have to outreach and feel for people. You never know what somebody's going through, but a simple putting a smile on some elderly lady's face as you walk down the street is a simple thing, but puts that positivity, that positive energy out there.
Yes.
All right. Quick question. What percentage of New Yorkers do you believe feel that way and think that way?
You know what? I think the majority of people, we're brought up to say, get a job, 9 to 5, conformity, things like that, and certain goals, get an education, work hard, make money. And that's fine. It has its place in life. It's a necessary part. So, but I think what happens is that many people, they become numb, especially in big cities like New York.
Yeah.
They become numb because they're just, narrow-minded. They got blinders on. And so part of the, what I try to do, is try to turn the switch in them, so to speak, and try to just get them to let their hair down, let that just to get to that other part so they can feel, and just get them away for a couple of hours at a show or even a virtual event, or something interactive or anything. You got to find a common denominator. Music is a common denominator for so many of us.
Yeah,
it certainly is for me. If I hear a song, or maybe if you hear a song, all of a sudden you're back in time like a time machine, right? You remember this song being played with your mom when you were a kid, or you kept playing that record over and over and drove everyone crazy, or it could be your first kiss or whatever. So, I think it's a little bit numbness. I think it's most people. I'm a positive person. I believe in the positivity of people, but I think you just gotta stick to it. You don't know what people are going through. And the thing is, the key is for all of us, we're all come from the same cloth here, is, love yourself, but not mean in a selfish, narcissistic way, but love yourself, accept yourself, forgive yourself, and come from that place inside yourself when you relate to other people. So, that's what, kind of like my outlook, how I look at it. But yeah, so I think, there's people that, a little bit down, whatever, but I think a lot of it is just, I see that turning around because there's a lot of positivity. There's so many great things that are happening now. And this New York went through its trials and tribulations, and it's all coming back. The parks are getting full. People are more cautious, and they should be, but we got a black eye, but guess what? I believe in the resilience of our population and people. I believe in that, and I believe it's going forward.
So well said. I think a lot of people needed to hear that. I needed to hear that.
You have my heart, Soho.
Yeah, you've got some great vibes coming off of you. You can find SoHo Johnny everywhere, by the way, even these after parties for the Grammys and the Oscars. Let's peek behind that curtain a little bit. Well, just tell us which after party gets more wild and why the Grammys.
Well, there's the after party and there's the after party, right? Like you always do. But, it gets wilder as the night goes on, I guess, and it's a little bit more selective taste. But listen, everybody is entitled to do as they feel, as long as you don't hurt somebody else. The house of SoHo Johnny is open to everyone under those auspices. But and listen, it's just the fun, the nature of the Grammys. The after party with the Grammys was great. There was some entertainers that and they have the breakout areas and different areas from different types of music or different type of artistry that have been nominated or won, and they're performing, and it's just a fun time. It's just the people are just it's a celebration of life. So then and of course there's breakout parties as you go throughout the night. And see how long you can stay up.
Enjoy the fun.
All right, so just tell us who's someone we would be surprised to find out they were really fun to party with.
Oh boy.
I know we're putting you on the spot.
Well, there's so many different, you know, you could pick up Fred Schneider from B-52s. I think he's got a great personality. He's great sense of humor, and I think of him. I also think of, because I did a classic disco show. I've done that for a couple of years, and I used to raise money for American Cancer Society. I may do another one this year, and it was an all-day festival, and I had all the classic disco greats from that whole time era, that type of music we had. Tavares, Heat Wave, Harold Melvin's Blue Notes, Instant Funk, Double Exposure, Fonda Ray, Sharon Brown, Terry DeSario, Planet Patrol, Jimmy Bohorn, and these are all disco people and bands. And we had Constantine Morales. Okay, he's not really disco, but we know him from Rock of Ages and wonderful voice. And then we had Monty Rock III, who flew in from Vegas, and he is, I call him my Mr. Magnificent. For those of the audience that know Monty Rock, I mean, he used to be on the Johnny Carson show. He's been on Howard Stern show. He did that song. He was the DJ in Saturday Night Fever. Okay, and he was, he did that song back in the day, Get Dancing, Discotheques, and the Sexolettes, and
I know exactly.
He's very. Yeah. So when you're dealing with entertainment, entertainers are used to putting themselves out there, right? And they're used to exuding that personality or that type of, it's almost like sometimes some of them are still performing because it's just kind of how they are. And some of them, they could turn a switch. So everybody's different, to answer your question with that. I think, I was supposed to make a red carpet party in LA about a month ago, and I just couldn't make it. But there were so many rockers there, and it was just great. Great famous bass guitarist like Leland Sklar, and he's hilarious. He's a wonderful guy. He helped support us on my November show, and he has he came out with a book. Okay, I forgot what it is. Everybody Loves Me. I think that's the name of it. I'm going to make everybody laugh. He has celebrities from all over in the book, and all of this is a picture of them flipping him the bird, with the finger. That's the whole book. And so that's, he's fun. We're probably going to do trading cards out of it. But
that's great. Hey, you had me at Fred Schneider. We love Fred Schneider. B-52s. That was a great answer.
It was awesome.
Let's talk about SoHo at Night, your new show focusing on celebrities who give back.
Well, SoHo at Night is very, very exciting. It's imminent. We're probably going to start shooting in about a month or two. And the basic premise is, my family's background for 100 years, going back maybe 5 generations, is actually in SoHo. My grandfather started 100 years ago, whatever it was, a poor man to try to make a living, and he started his business in SoHo. And we're still there. We still have properties, and we still, rent out places and try to help people, with experiential events and retailers or pop-ups or mostly all commercial. And SoHo at Night, we're going to be filming it probably, in a few different lofts here and there, and we're going to have performers, comedians, and I'm not going to go over the names now to keep that somewhat of a suspense surprise, but again, I'm very, very flattered people that have come and approached us that are interested in being on the show. And, I can't give too much of the premise away to answer your question, except that it's going to be a little bit different from like any talk show.
Good.
Forgive me. I know this is terrible. I'm laughing. I can't share a lot of these things, but I'm the host of the show, and I've got some. It's going to have a lot of different interesting aspects like this. It's going to be a little bit eccentric, a little bit on the edge, but it's all, and part of it's going to be devoted to Let Me Help Inc. Of course, I always keep, a charity in everything I do and everything I touch, because, it's just my belief. And it's going to be very, very interesting. It's got like a few different twists. I'll be walking around and a few different surprises. We're behind curtain number 1, curtain number 2, curtain number 3.
Right.
That sounds so amazing.
and tell us more about Let Me Help Inc. Tell us about where that started. And
well, I think, it really kind of like, as I said before, I was always somewhat indirectly involved in entertainment, not directly, and had a real estate company since the 1980s, and it's still around. As I just said, PEP Real Estate, PEPrealestate.com is our website. But I think, 27 years ago, my dad died from cancer. And I was already doing some shows, and I was doing this, but, didn't really take it up a few notches until, and my dad died. I said, just going to take, channel this energy because, death is part of life. It makes life special, right? Because we all know that we're here for a limited period of time. And I wanted to channel energy positively. So that's when I started doing events, and I brought in, higher level artists to help support me, and I raised money for American Cancer Society. So that was the timeline, kind of the beginning years ago as I was doing this, chugging along. And as I said earlier in the show, COVID took my mom last year. Okay. And in the same kind of vernacular, thank you. But in the same vernacular, it was towards the beginning of COVID when we didn't have the medicine that we have now. And I had this on the shelf because I wanted to have a foundation rather than just give a check and have something so I could pivot myself. And, not just me, just people around me. Yeah. And because nobody owns a foundation, you just put it together, and it's really like a public entity, and you just manage it maybe with your board. And I started after Mom. I said, let me try and do something to feel, try to feel a little bit better in her name and everyone's name that's been affected, right? So I started letmehelpinc.org, the foundation, and starting to do shows, and Soho Night will give something to it, and we've got one of my mentors, John Valesco. What a wonderful man. Blessed to have him. He made a suggestion for one of the artists that signed to us, because we represent artists, who's called Animazex, the band Animazex, Mike Becerra, Rudy Salzo, and the boys. Fantastic. They were doing great in Japan. We helped bring them over here to the States. And we said, John had told me, why don't we do a show that we're planning now and raise money for Camp Marcella, which is in New Jersey, and it's a blind children's camp, okay? And when he said that, it kind of like, blind children's camp, I said, it hit me right there in the heart. And of course, we got to do that. So we got that in the works. And it could be for any noble cause. That's the beauty of it. Because charity could be needed in any manner, shape, or form, as we see it. And, charity could be very simple, and we're all role models to each other, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter who or what you have or what you look like. You can make a little bit of a difference, no impression, how you relate to the next person. So Let Me Help is like born with all those things. It was just kind of parallel. It came into its own, and it just made sense to do it. And we're just any good cause that we come across, we're going to combine it with entertainment. And we want everyone. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to have a great time because that's it's just fun to be able to do that, and that feel good moment. It becomes contagious.
Man,
so
well, you are doing some wonderful things, and the world is a better place because you are in it, my friend.
Well, thank you for saying that. But again, I don't want to take the credit. It's just I'm just surrounded by some beautiful, beautiful people and artists, whatever that. Like the breath of love is spoken in the language of musical expression. And
that's right. It's all about a tribe and the company you keep, how far
exactly.
your connections reach, and
who
that's
you
great.
meet along the way and who's special to you.
And it helps
exactly.
it helps when you are in the center of the universe too. I mean, people travel from all over the world to New York. We've been there several times ourselves. I mean, they come to visit the place that you know best. If you'll indulge us, I'd like to get your take on some of the best in the area. I mean, how do we have SoHo Johnny on and not talk about the best of Soho?
Yeah.
Let's let's end on a fun segment that we can call How to Soho with SoHo Johnny. All right, so these will be just very quick. First thing that comes to your mind, very easy, no pressure. Where, in your opinion, is the best place to get a slice of pizza?
Famous Ben's Pizza, 177 Spring Street, corner of Spring and Thompson. They have a kick butt Sicilian slice of pizza.
He knows
I
where
got to
to
try
go.
it when you're there.
Yeah, that locked and loaded. That was ready to go. Love that. All right,
It was ready to go off the shelf.
Yeah, was best place to see a show, or a concert. Where's the best venue in the area?
Boy, it could be anywhere. I can't pick just one place, because one of the beauties is that, in some of these side blocks, they have performing arts theaters, and, the Roundabout Theater was one I used to, there's so many different ones. The Roundabout Theater has, I believe they have, well, it's not really Soho, it's Uptown, but they have this space that was the old Studio 54.
Nice.
Cool.
There's so many different things. We're doing several things now. We're getting ready to launch an acting school in Soho, in one of our places, and tying it into the artist community and galleries, and as well as the fashion industry. That's something that we'll be announcing sometime soon. Creative Studios, Soho Creative Studios.
Hell yeah.
So that's that's going to be really
stuff
cool.
going on.
Yeah, it's a trip, it's a journey, but it's like I said, I encourage everybody that's listening to this to go through the door. Like this, you got to work at 9 to 5. You got to do what you got to do, but always speak to that passion. Remember, drive the bus of your life. Don't be a passenger and just end up somewhere when you get old. Try to drive the bus of your life.
Well said.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Best Soho date spot.
The best Soho. Let's see, the best Soho date spot. Well, listen, of course, I'm a little bit partial to say that, there's some terraces. There's one on Mercer Street. But of course, that's a place that we have our hands on.
Oh, I see.
It was just it was just rented. But I think, just because, it's beautiful. But I think the Soho date spot, I think Balthazar is a great restaurant that's been there on Spring Street, Spring and Crosby for, many, many years. Keith McNally, I think, had started it, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 20 years ago. Great date spot to go there. Fantastic, great seafood right there. Trying to remember. Yeah, I think, listen, the thing is, it's a historic neighborhood, so you're not just walking through just any single block where there's high-rise office buildings.
Exactly.
Anything could be a Kodak moment.
Just the walk could be a fun date, just like
That's true,
the adventure along the way.
Well, but it helps to have some of this insider information.
Well, we
I
have
think
to
our
know when we
listeners
visit next. Like, where are we
like to know.
going?
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, give us like just one hidden gem. It could be anything.
A hidden gem. Hidden gem probably would be a lot of change that's happening right now, especially in the downtown area. After many, many years of having the whole area, believe it or not, like we're talking about Soho, NoHo, some of those areas, the zoning is so archaic in the city. So here's a hidden gem that, there's some people know, but not everyone knows. And you're an audience now. They're changing finally, and I was actually part of it, changing the zoning to make it more realistic. There was artists living in buildings illegally, not according to code and all this stuff. And finally, the city, because of a lot of special interest groups are trying to get it cleaned up. So that's something that we're going to be hearing more and more about. That's happening soon, and it's changing. I think. Listen, every city, goes through evolution, right? Change is inevitable. It's part of it. You adapt to it. Okay. Soho has been through, in the 80s, it was very, very big. It's still part of the art community, but it was really big back in the 80s. And, if you go years ago, many years ago, it used to house slaves back in that. It's very interesting history, but I think Soho is one neighborhood that continues to evolve. And it's just been a nexus, as you said earlier. You're right, it's an international destination, which kind of insulates it a little bit from the rest of the world and the pandemic and the economic effects of the depression of the pandemic. Yeah. But it always was a nexus of creativity. I could say I've lived there my whole life, and it always attracts creativity, high tech or high this. And, we rented out back in the 80s, we rented out a restaurant to Grace Jones, and Andy Warhol used to hang out upstairs. It's all over the internet. Cool. Really, really cool. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. It's really fun. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. So. All right. Well, I got one more for you. I got a very personal, very relevant question. Hope you can handle it.
I'm sitting down, but I'm ready. I could just roll it right out.
Knicks or Nets?
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ooh,
Mm.
tough one.
Both are making
Well,
the playoffs. This is exciting time for New York.
Hey, listen, I'm
Who you
a
rooting
New
for?
Yorker. You know, I guess I got to go Knicks. I'm sorry for
Yes.
those listeners out there. You know,
No, I'm thinking about Michael Rappaport and all of the other like real New Yorkers that would really back up that statement. You know, the cool thing and the trendy thing right now is Brooklyn. And, you know, they have all the players, they're stacked, but I mean, there has to be so many people that have been waiting so long that are excited to see the Knicks in the position they are. They're what, fourth or fifth seed right now, looking to make the playoffs, not even in the play-in. That's really exciting. Good for the Knicks.
That's exactly right. We want to rabble rouse and get people out there to have a good time and enjoy themselves. Go back to the events, whatever. Wear your mask, whatever you got to do. Feel safe. Don't be careful. But let's get the party going again. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time. That's time. Let's come on in. You know, any events that just give us a holler, send an email to us, whatever. I mean, we're happy to help create the fervor.
That's right.
We've got to have that baton swinging because life is a beautiful experience. Just have the right glasses to see the light.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So well said, and it has been such a pleasure to have you on. You can find more info on SoHo Johnny and his upcoming shows at SoHoJohnny.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and I
Thank you.
very much hope that we could talk again sometime.
Well, thank you everybody for having me, and again, shout out to everything for that the three of you are doing and keeping the line on for everybody. Every day is a blessing and a gift.
Oh, thank
You're
you
such
so
a beautiful
much.
person. Thank you, Soho.
Take care, and thank you again.
Thank
so
you guys.
much.
Thank you.
Be blessed.
You too. Be well. That's a very cool guy and a
Yes.
high quality human right there.
What a great heart. Oh,
Totally.
It was nice having SoHo Johnny on the Crunch Cast.
and he's the blast too.
You know what this show was missing? A serious piece of New York.
Yeah.
We did need that.
Slice of New York City pie.
Well, you will not believe some of the guests that we have coming up on the Crunch Cast. You wouldn't believe us if we told you, in fact.
No.
I'm beyond excited for the next few weeks. Holy shit. Don't forget to check out somethingcrunchy.com where you'll find every episode, our links for social media, and the almighty Crunch Store where you'll find all kinds of crunchy gear showing that you are a proud citizen of Crunch Nation. If you're feeling frisky and think you're ready for the Something Crunchy Facebook group, you're not. But come on over anyway. It's the most fun you can have with your pants on. This has been another episode of Something Crunchy, and as always, don't ever forget to live your crunchiest life.
And be crunchy to one another.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and all that crunchy good shit. Thank you for listening.
I love it. The Crunchy Show. Let's rock and roll.
This has been another episode of Something Crunchy, and as always, don't ever
That was the worst thing I've ever heard. Big bonk. Do it.
I'm waiting for you.
I know. Oh, I'll bring this in.
Okay.
Holy shit, that was bad.
Dink jerk.
Oh. This has been another episode of Something Crunchy, and as always,
You were supposed to do the I'm gonna bring us in. And then you just go smash? Come on.
It's always me.
Always.
how do we want to do this? Okay.
Just
Okay.
cheers
Give me
each
the
other.
3, 2, 1.
All right. I'm going to redo this last part here.
Perfect. Nailed it.
It's actually pretty good.